Imagine lying in bed, hearing something clawing beneath your floor, while, in another house, voices of the dead beg for salvation. One warns you not to trust your father. The other pleads for you to save them. What if these two chilling stories are tied together by a nightmare darker than you can imagine? Hello, everyone. I'm Dusky Nights, and I bring you real-life horror stories that will help you fall asleep. But before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from, and what time is it right now? Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. The house was a prison, its walls closing in since Kyle vanished. Dad's rules were ironclad. No phone, no internet, no trust. Born from the fear that took my brother, lost to an online predator he swore he'd never let claim me too. I was 15, not like Kyle, not chasing strangers in chat rooms, but Dad didn't care. All I wanted was to text friends, watch videos, escape the silence of my room, but his paranoia kept me caged. I ate alone, waiting for him to finish dinner, avoiding his sharp eyes and sharper tongue. Not good enough for you? He'd snap if I lingered over my plate. Kyle used to take the heat, deflecting Dad's anger like the time I spilled paint in the garage, and he took a fist for it, claiming a hockey bruise to anyone who asked. I never thanked him, and now he was gone, leaving me in a room that felt too big, too empty, no longer ours. I worked weekends at Quick Mart, bagging groceries, saving $200 for a secret, a cheap Motorola smartphone from my friend Devin. I set up socials, YouTube, Spotify, even a Reddit account, hiding the phone under a loose floorboard in my bedroom. It was mine now, not our room, though the desk, the wardrobe, still whispered Kyle's name. One night, curiosity pulled me under, and I Googled him. A headline on a shady news site stopped my heart. Father investigated in missing child's case. Dad's face stared back, stepping into his Lexus, caught by some grainy lens. Boots thumped on the stairs, and I shoved the phone under the floorboard, diving into bed, pulling the blanket tight. Dad loomed in the doorway, whiskey on his breath. "Gee night, Bailey," he slurred, worse than he'd been since the divorce. I mumbled goodnight, then dared to ask, "Any news on Kyle?" His face hardened. "We don't talk about him, not your worry." He left the door ajar, a silent warning. Sleep was slipping away when it started. Scratch, 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 like nails on skin or a shovel biting dirt, came from the floorboard where my phone hid. I froze, staring at the wood, and the sound stopped, as if it knew I was listening. Had I left Spotify on? I slid from bed, glancing at the open door, and pressed my ear to the floor. Scratch, 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 not music, but fingers clawing through earth, something digging upward. Panic surged, but I couldn't lift the board, couldn't face what might be there. I crawled back to bed, eyes squeezed shut, telling myself it was nothing, a trick of the house, not real. Morning came, gray and heavy. Over breakfast, I asked Dad about the noise. "Rats," he said, not looking up. "Probably fell into a gap under the floor. They'll die out." His certainty felt too quick, but I nodded, wanting to believe him. That night, the scratching returned, louder, closer, no longer tentative. It wasn't a rat. Rats don't survive weeks without food, don't make sounds like desperate hands scraping soil. Sometimes, in the still hours when the wind died, I heard breaths, weak, whistling, like lungs clogged with dust. I endured it, clinging to reason, until 2 nights ago when the world shifted. The scratching began at 3 a.m., relentless, then stopped. Silence stretched, a false peace, before it resumed, harsher, fingernails raking wood. The floorboard wobbled, lifting slightly, as if pushed from below. Terror pinned me to the bed. I grabbed textbooks from my desk, stacking them on the board, and the movement ceased. But the scratching didn't. It clawed on, muffled, trapped. I stayed awake and eyes on the pile until dawn's light gave me courage. I moved the books, lifted the board, and found a nightmare. The phone was gone, swallowed by a hole the size of my arm, plunging into darkness. I leaned closer, ear hovering, and heard it again. Those whistling breaths, closer now, alive in the void. My pulse hammered. It was impossible, insane, but the thought took root. Something was buried down there, something that breathed. At school, I borrowed Devon's phone, hands shaking, and dialed my number. He laughed. "What, you think the whole monster's got your phone?" 7 rings, then a click. "Hello?" I whispered. Static hissed, and a voice, Kyle's voice, crackled through. "Don't trust him." The call cut out, leaving me hollow, Devon's smirk fading as he saw my face. I didn't go home that day. I wandered the town, avoiding the house, but night fell, and I had nowhere else to go. Dad was in the living room, flask in hand, TV blaring. He didn't ask where I'd been, just grunted as I passed. In my room, the floorboard was back in place, the textbooks neatly stacked on my desk. I hadn't touched them. I checked the board, heart pounding, and found the hole still there, but no phone, no answers. The air felt thick, like the room was watching me. I shoved my dresser over the board, barricading it, and tried to sleep, but the scratching returned, slower, deliberate, like it was testing the weight above. The next night I stayed up, a flashlight clutched like a weapon. The sounds had changed, less frantic, more rhythmic, like something pacing below. I thought about the headline, Dad's face, the investigation. Kyle's voice on the phone haunted me, his warning looping in my head. I Googled him again on Devon's phone at school, digging deeper. Old forums mentioned a kid matching Kyle's description, last seen near our house, but no arrests, no leads. One post buried in a true crime thread chilled me. The dad's got a crawl space. Cops never checked it. My house had no crawl space, not that I knew. But the hole under my floor said otherwise. I started noticing things. Dad's flask was always full. No matter how much he drank, He'd linger by my door at night, not speaking, just standing, his shadow stretching across the floor. Once, I caught him in the garage, staring at the spot where I'd spilled paint years ago, his hands clenched. I hadn't told him about the noises, but he seemed to know, his eyes flicking to the floorboard when he thought I wasn't looking. I stopped eating at home, grabbing food from Quick Mart, afraid he'd see the fear in me, afraid he'd snap. Last night, the scratching turned to knocking, soft, insistent, like a fist on wood. I didn't move, didn't breathe, just watched the dresser. It shuddered, inching forward, as if something pushed from below. I grabbed my backpack, stuffed it with clothes, and waited for dawn. At first light, I shoved the dresser aside and lifted the board. The hole was wider, the edges rough, like it had been clawed open. I shone the flashlight down, and my breath caught. Handprints, small, smeared in dirt, lined the walls, climbing toward me. At the bottom, barely visible, was my phone, screen cracked, glowing faintly. I didn't reach for it. I dropped the board, piled every book I owned on top, and left for school. But I didn't stay. I'm at Devon's now, crashing on his couch, ignoring his questions. He thinks I'm paranoid, says I need to chill. But he didn't hear Kyle's voice, didn't see the handprints. I keep checking my phone's location on Devon's laptop, but it's offline, still in that hole. I'm scared to go back, scared of what's digging, what's breathing. Kyle's warning burns in me. Don't trust him. Dad? Someone else? I don't know. But the hole knows, and it's not done. I've started dreaming of Kyle, his face half buried in dirt, his hands clawing upward. He doesn't speak, just points to the floor, to the hole. I wake up gasping, checking under Devon's couch, half expecting a floorboard to lift. The noises follow me, faint scratches in the dark, even here, miles from home. I looked up our house online, searching for blueprints, anything about a crawl space, nothing, but a real estate listing from before we moved in mentioned unlisted storage space. My stomach sank. I called the police anonymously, tipped them about the hole, but they brushed it off, saying they'd look into it. I don't think they will. Dad's texted me, asking where I am, saying we need to talk. I haven't replied. His messages feel wrong, too calm, like he's hiding something. I keep picturing him in the garage, the paint stain, the way he stared. Kyle took that bruise for me, and now he's under my floor, or something wearing his voice is. I don't know what's worse, if it's him, trapped, or something else, using his memory to lure me back. I can't stay at Devon's forever, but going home means facing the hole, the breaths, the hands. I've thought about digging, finding what's down there, but what if it finds me first? I'm losing it, jumping at every sound, seeing dirt on my hands when I wake. I need to know what happened to Kyle, why Dad's name was in that article, what's under my room, but every step toward the truth feels like stepping into the hole, and I'm not sure I'll climb out. The scratchings in my head now, constant. And I swear, last night I heard Kyle's voice again. Not on a phone, but in the dark, whispering, "Come find me." I don't want to, but I don't think I have a choice. The weight of my own existence presses down like a stone. Each day, a battle against thoughts that whisper, "I'd be better off gone." I'm writing this to explain to my family, my friends, anyone who might care, because I don't know how much longer I can hold on. It sounds insane, like the ravings of someone unhinged, but every word is true. The basement door in our house, the one I've feared since we moved here 5 years ago, isn't just a door. It's a gateway, a mouth that speaks in the voices of those I love, and it's pulling me toward something I can't escape. We moved into this sprawling 6,000 square foot house when I was 11, a gift from my parents' wealth I barely noticed as a kid. The basement was a dream, movie room, gym, a small kitchen, but I never went down alone. Not because of the space, but because of the guest bedroom door. It looked ordinary, white and suburban, but when I was alone, it radiated dread, a cold that froze my bones. I'd stare, unable to move, the world fading until only the door remained, pulsing with something alive. With Mom or my siblings nearby, it was just a door, opening to a cozy room for Grandma's visits. But alone, it was a predator, watching me back 3 months ago at 16. Everything changed. I was at a church camp, connecting with kids from my youth group. Nolan, 13, with a shy grin. Brady, 12, all blue eyes and curiosity. Cam, 16, steady and cool. And Bronx, 14, sharp-witted and bold. We clicked instantly, swapping numbers, promising to keep in touch. Back home, I saw Nolan at church, his long black hair buzzed short for cross-country. "Gotta let it marinate," I teased, and he laughed, half embarrassed. Brady joined us, his baby face making him look younger than he was, and we sat through the service, inseparable. Nolan's ADHD pulled him to his phone, and I'd nudge him gently. A friend, not a nag. That was the last time they felt real. That night, a migraine hit, a vice around my skull. I logged off my gaming session with Nolan and Brady, lying about feeling sick, and crawled into bed, flat on my back, to ease the pain. Sleep came, but a voice tore me awake, a deep, guttural Riley. My eyes snapped open, but my body wouldn't move, paralyzed, except for my gaze. In the corner, by my open door, stood a figure, not human, but a swirling mass of shadow with crimson eyes. "Riley," it said again, "they are waiting for you." Control flooded back, and I slammed the door shut, heart pounding. I'd locked it before bed. Something had opened it. I tried sleeping on my stomach, a trick to dodge sleep paralysis, but dawn found me exhausted, the figure's words looping in my head. Monday dragged, My lie to Mom about gaming all night, covering the truth. As night fell, dread coiled and tighter. I taped the door shut, half on the frame, half on the wood. Like a camp counselor sealing us in, I lay on my back, daring the paranormal to return, and it did. Worse, Brady's voice called, "Riley, Riley, Riley," sweet at first, then twisting into rage. "You could never save me. Burn in hell with me." My eyes opened, but paralysis gripped me again. The door was wide open, tape intact, and the shadow figure stood closer, its calm voice chilling. "Riley, they are waiting for you." I leaped up, finding no figure, but Brady's voice echoed again, fully awake. "You could never save me." Tears streamed as I stared into my bathroom mirror, knowing the basement door was the source. I had to face it. Each step to the basement felt like wading through tar, my breath and heartbeat deafening in the silent house. Brady's mocking cackle rang out, joined by Nolan, Cam, and Bronx, their voices twisting into Latin, then back, urging me forward. It took an hour to reach the bottom, my mind a storm of fear and need for answers. The guest bedroom door loomed, pristine in the pitch-black basement, its normalcy unnatural. Shadows usually crawled across it, defying physics. But now, it stood perfect, a lie that drew me in. I gripped the frigid knob, flung it open, expecting a bedroom, and found a nightmare. The room was gone, replaced by an impossible space. A vast open-air arena with a sandy floor, like a Roman Colosseum under a starless sky. In the center, 4 metal poles, 20 meters tall, chained 4 figures together: Nolan, Brady, Cam, and Bronx. Vomit rose as I staggered forward, their voices now cries of pain. Brady, his thorn-crowned head bleeding, sobbed, a sound no 12-year-old should make. "What have they done to you?" I choked, grabbing his chained hands, shaking the bonds. "I'll get you out." He stared, eyes wide with fear. "Who are you?" My heart broke. "It's me, Riley." I tore off his crown, fumbling with the chains, but he looked at me like a stranger. "They're not going anywhere," a voice said. The shadow figure stood behind me, crimson eyes glowing. "They're mine." I spun, defiant. "This isn't real." It laughed, low and cold. "I took them 6 months ago, ripped them from reality. The ones you know, your friends, are demonic doppelgangers set to ruin the world. You have a choice." It tossed me a pistol, heavy and loaded. "Kill the demons sleeping in your world, or kill these 4 here. Leave the demons, and you and your family are safe, but I can't promise more. Kill them, and you'll be immortal until judgment, living through humanity's days, unloved." The words sank like blades. I believed it. The arena, the chains, the pain in Brady's eyes. It was real, and I was trapped. I walked out with blood on my hands, 4 bodies left in the sand, knowing I'd chosen wrong, but unable to stop. The figure watched, silent, as I stumbled back through the door, the basement swallowing my sobs. I'm leaving soon, whether to damnation or nothingness. I don't know. I deserve it. God feels distant, and the voices, Nolan's laugh, Brady's cries, follow me, louder each night. The house is quiet now, but the door hums, a low pulse only I hear. I've stopped going to church, seeing their faces in the pews, knowing they're not them, twists my gut. Mom asks why I'm distant, but I can't tell her I killed her son's friends, or that they were never real. I see the figure in mirrors, in shadows, its eyes waiting. The pistol's still in my drawer, untouched but heavy, like it's calling me to finish what I started. I dream of the arena, the chains, Brady's thorns, but now I'm chained too, the figure whispering, you chose. I've thought about going back, opening the door again, seeing if they're still there, if I can undo it. But the basement feels alive, the door a mouth ready to swallow me whole. I hear their voices at night, not just Brady's, but all of them, begging, accusing, laughing. They're in the walls, under the floor, in my head. I've started cutting small lines on my arms to feel something else, to prove I'm still here. It doesn't help. The dread's too deep, the choice too final. I don't know if I killed demons or friends, but I know I'm not free. The figure lied. Immortality's no gift. It's a cage, and I'm alone in it, waiting for the end, or for them to call me back through the door. If you've enjoyed this tale and want to share your own dark, suspenseful, or chilling stories, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always looking for fresh, eerie submissions to bring to life. Whether it's a personal experience, an urban legend, or a tale straight from your imagination, I'd love to hear from you. Submit your story today. Send it to my email at duskynights145@gmail.com. Let's create some unforgettable, spine-tingling narratives together.